Every once in a while, but not very often, the energy and vision of a single person can transform a neighborhood, an art form, a cuisine. In 1971, a wonderful young lady from Chatham, New Jersey, inspired by her trips through France, decided she wanted to become a restaurateur. This was her calling. And based on a few simple ideas, the use of organic produce, supporting those farmers that grew that produce, a wonderful, nurturing environment for her staff, and being a good citizen of the planet, this restaurant was born. Now, 3 decades later, no one's going to argue that that restaurant, Chez Panisse, and that woman, Alice Waters, was instrumental in creating the organic movement in America as it is today. We're going to meet the chef, get her story, go to this wonderful restaurant and see the food, and then find ourselves back here in a market that, in a lot of ways, Alice helped create. Chez Panisse, Alice Waters, and the market in the Embarcadero.
Celery or something?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
A little crunchy?
I think it wants more celery.
Okay.
I think you want a little bit more proportion to celery. Do you have any celery leaves?
Yeah.
Can we just begin at the beginning? When did you decide that this was your calling?
I took a junior year out of college and I went to France, and I feel like I had this sensual awakening. I had never really eaten very much before, at least consciously. I was a very picky eater, but I'd never had an oyster, and I had lived on the East Coast. I'd never had a sort of food from the market, bread from the baker, and it really changed my life. I'm just trying to figure out what you guys should eat for lunch. And then I had this idea, well, you know, why don't I just open a restaurant? Oh, it's fantastic. Now you have to do this every day. Then my friends could come there and eat, and I could get paid for doing it. It was at that particular time in the 70s, and there wasn't really a consciousness about food. It was a very particular moment, and so this restaurant that began really with one menu a day seemed unusual to people. And it was in a house. And it was very French in feeling, or I tried to make it very French in feeling. But I was on a search for foodstuffs. I realized, of course, that we didn't know enough about farming. We really had to find people who were already growing things.
Where's all this stuff going?
It's going to the farm. He uses it for compost.
So we're going to eat this again in some other form?
Yeah.
Ultimately, the food that tasted the best happened to be the farmers who were farming organically, and we put the two together.
I have a small farm in western Sonoma County, as do many others, probably not enough. But I deliver my produce and that of, in the height of the season, about 20 different small farms. It's all in western Sonoma County, it's all seasonal, and it's all sustainable or organic.
Chef, tell me, what's this corn going to end up as?
It's going to end up with the morel mushrooms and sweet onion souffle.
Hey, talk to me. Look at these gorgeous squid. What are these?
These are just local squid that we get certain times of the year. They used to be an incidental catch people didn't really pay attention to, but we buy them all now. We can.
Incidental catch, like one of my favorite things in the world to eat.
Exactly.
Incidental catch, they're gorgeous.
They're really thin and tender, and they cook really quickly.
You simply have what we think is the best we can make with the ingredients that have come that day. Are those the bingy potatoes? Those potatoes are just so great. Aren't they divine? They're just divine.
Fruit?
The idea is to really look at the ingredients. A group of chefs gather in the afternoon. They talk about it. It's a little bit like an improvisation. What?
It's too sweet. It's sweet.
It's too sweet. I think it needs some, you know, like a
Garlic to the...
We can pound a little.
even a pounded garlic in it, so that it feels like it wants a base that's stronger, because the endive is very forthcoming.
Describe the menu for me. I come in, I arrive. What's happening?
You come in and you're seated and you get the menu of the day, and you have no choice. So we hope that it appeals to you. And the courses simply come. Well, there's no question that this restaurant was born from the free speech movement. It was. I was there. I was in Berkeley. And it was very important and empowering to me to feel like I could do anything that I wanted to do. If I had enough desire, that somehow, and if it were good enough, people would come. And I was extremely naive, but I really believed in that.
Well,
and I still believe in that. What?
Being naive helps, often.
Very, but I still have that optimism. I think we can change the world.
Speaking of changing the world, tell me about this project you're involved in with schools.
I'm involved in this project at Martin Luther King Junior Middle School here in Berkeley. Hello. And I was sort of almost pulled in off the street by the principal because I had made a disparaging comment about the way the school looked. And I said, how in an enlightened place like Berkeley, how could we have a public school that looked like this? 1,000 kids ate out of a fast food concession. And we were teaching them in this school those values, because it's really shocking what they're eating and how neglected they are. So I proposed to the principal that I would come in and help if he would allow a curriculum that had to do with taking care of the land, learning how to feed ourselves, and sitting at the table. Because it's that whole cycle that's what's really important.
A lot of what we grow is forageable. We really want them to make that immediate connection where they, pick a raspberry and put it in their mouth, or eat a carrot, and then, often we send some of the produce home with them. It's great.
We have a garden classroom and a kitchen classroom, and all the courses in the school are integrated into these classrooms. The kids are really hungry. They're hungry not only for food, but they're hungry for people to care about them. And if this program does anything, it shows them that we care about them.
And when in San Francisco, you can't miss this. In the Embarcadero Furry Plaza Farmers Market, every Saturday from 8:30 to noon. This place is unbelievable. This is maybe my favorite market in the country. Go inside, take a look. They got the best stuff here. We got chef shopping here, we got smart customer shopping here, and the farmers, who are the real stars of the show, bringing the stuff downtown for us to take advantage of. Let's go in.
Super peaches for super people, right here.
Look at that lettuce. I mean, this stuff was picked this morning. What's for dinner tonight at your house?
That's a good question.
In the back, you got to get that last of the season porcini mushrooms.
Almost like a watermelon. This is a white peach. It's unbelievable.
I think the thing about this market is that the people who shop here really like food.
Yeah, it's a pretty oyster. Doesn't get much better than that.
All right, bottoms up. Wow.
It was Michael's business. I moved out here from Brooklyn, and I came to the farmer's market, and I actually bought some of the salmon jerky as a customer to go backpacking in the Grand Canyon with the guy I was with at the time. And I spent the whole time in the Grand Canyon thinking about the salmon dude, whose salmon jerky was saving my life every day. Anyway, long story short, pretty soon that other guy went away, and we got together. So.
That's great. Forget about it. Incredible.
Have you ever tasted a snap pea like that?
What makes the product so special in your opinion? Because you've been working on both sides of the fence here.
Yeah, the protocol, animal husbandry, by which, you know, the animals are raised, cared, and ultimately put down.
Not factory farming.
No, we're the antithesis of factory farmers.
Right.
We're trying to put those guys out of business. And we're starting right here at the farmer's market. This is ground zero.
California always had a history of small farms. People raised families on, 5 acres of strawberries. And then it just started, it kept changing. It got, more conglomerate. So they were sort of forced out. And when we started in the 70s, there weren't very many small farmers around, but the organic movement sort of resurrected it. So all of a sudden you had a whole bunch of small farmers, and it was very exciting.
We could come up with all these abstract concepts of how we need to save the small family farmer, but it's really the dollar that keeps these guys in business.
San Francisco, what's not to love? I mean, if I'd gone to college at Berkeley, I would have never come home. Whew, nice out there. The neatest thing about Chez Panisse, the neatest thing about Alice Waters and that restaurant is I've been in restaurants all my life and I've never been in a restaurant like this. I mean, the vibe there is unbelievable. Everybody's happy. I've never been in a less stressful kitchen. The waiters, the waitresses, the woman that does the flowers, it's like one big happy family. You can't believe it till you see it, and I don't think you can catch that stuff on camera. And I love the seasonal thing. I love what she's doing. I mean, thanks to Alice Waters, really, she gave this whole organic seasonal movement in America a huge push. I mean, you could almost argue that it kind of started then and there in Berkeley in the 70s. So, in keeping in that theme, it's late spring, early summer actually here. We're going to prepare some seasonal stuff. We had a great lunch after we filmed. Chicken, a couple of other things with it. Wonderful organic chicken, some side dishes. Real simple, really delicious. That's the theme. We're going to go to the farm, see what's fresh today, come back and cook it like it's supposed to be. Easy to do. Follow me to the farm. We're here at the farm. Corn. We're going to buy some corn. First corn of the year. We got a lucky day here. We've had a wet spring, and we got corn early, and I pick these guys by weight. I just like them big and heavy.
Well, this is our first day with our own peppers and our frying peppers.
Beautiful, beautiful. You're grading the tomatoes for something. What are you grading them for?
Size, color.
Gotta love the farmers. When the weather cooperates, spring comes early. Take a look at these guys. No blemishes. Real clean stuff. Oh, you can smell it from down here. It smells like broccoli. Oh, this is good. I'm glad we did this. Hey, back from the farm. No surprise. Here's what we're going to make today. Lunch at Alice Waters was a organic chicken breast, beautiful boneless. Probably went in that wood-fired oven of hers. Served with a boneless quail. It was delicious. A little souffle that was, I believe, spring. Sweet onions with Parmesan cheese as kind of a side. And just a little bit of corn off the cob as floating around on the plate, little chicken jus. Nothing fancy. There's only a few elements on the plate. The corn, chicken, quail, and the little souffle thing. We're going to do a riff on that like we always do. I'm going to turn the corn into like a little corn custard, I guess. Corn cake, corn custard. Easy as heck to make. Delicious. Beans, just simple. In and out of boiling water, salted, boom. A little bit of roasted peppers probably on top of them. I'm going to saute some of this corn just as a base to put on the plate. And I'm going to grill the chicken on this crazy thing I've got over here. It's like an indoor cast iron grill thing that I use from time to time when I don't want to go in and out and use my outside grill. Restaurants have used these for years because grills are sort of modern anyway. All right, where do you want to start? Let's start with boning out a chicken. How many people know how to bone out a chicken? Raise your hands. That's not a whole lot. And I bet you're paying too much for boneless chicken at the supermarket. So here's a chicken, cost X a pound. You buy the boneless breast, it costs you 5 times X. I'm going to show you how to do this yourself. All right, here's the chicken. It's whole. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take the wings off first. And right there, I make an incision. That's the joint. Boom, that's the wing. One wing done. Next wing, same thing. I'm going to make a little incision, fold it back. That's the joint. And it is done. Got a little bit of breast in there. Sometimes you see that when you buy wings. If you want to cut the wing into 2 pieces, there's a joint right here, which we cut through. Next, I'm going to remove the leg, make an incision, cut the skin so it opens. The skin's really what's holding it, and then just peel it back. Run your knife along there. There's a little piece of meat there. We call that the oyster. That's that little guy. I love it in there. It's on the bottom of the carcass by the backbones. There's the joint. Knife follows it. Snip. Done. Joint comes out. And again, you want the thigh separated, go in there, bingo. She's done. All right, so that's a thigh again, and a drumstick. Now, if you want the breast boneless, which I do today, I'm going to scoop it out. If you want the breast with the bone in, well, I'll show you how to do it. I'll do the whole demo here. I'm going to peel it back, cut it there, cut it there. That's your backbone, back and neck bone. That's good for stock. This is the breast. If you want it on the bone, you'll split it right down the middle there, right there. And you'll have the two breasts with the bone in them. If you want them boneless, I've made this a little trickier for myself because I've taken the bird apart. Normally, if I wanted these boneless, I would have done it when the bird was whole because she's easier to work with. But I'm going to show you. Get a knife. Here's what I'm doing. Sorry, there's a bone that runs along here. You can see it. I'm simply following that bone with the tip of my knife, working it down through here. That's the tenderloin. I'm inside of it already. Opening it up. I'm coming right back. There'll be a little joint here. And peel it off, peel it off, peel it off. Bingo. Boneless chicken breast 101. Good. Here's the bag. Here's the corn. Remember? Here's what I'm going to do today. We're going to take these guys and clean them the way we always do. This gets a little messy. I usually do this outside on my back deck. All right, there's my corn. I gave it a wash in the sink because I want to get those little hairy things off of it. You know, you can eat them, but anyway, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the corn, raw corn. I did not blanch this corn. Now, here's what I'm going to do. And that's raw corn going right into the top of a blender. I can't resist. I'm going to put a couple of hot peppers in here because I love hot peppers. Something about hot peppers and corn. They just work together. This will give these guys a lot of bite. I can smell them too. They have a good flavor component. I'm going to put a little bit of scallion in here too because I just feel like it. And they're just going to go, well, I spilled some. I always do that. Big deal. Big deal. That's why they invented vacuum cleaners and side towels. And... All right, and a little bit of this stuff. This is a little smoked jalapeno. It's not terribly hot. And don't forget salt. Salt. Not too much. All right, a little bit of salt. Now, in this is about, well, maybe a little less than a cup of milk. Yeah, I'd say it's about a half a cup of milk. I can always add more if I need it. And these, I'm going to add a couple of eggs, whole eggs. Got our 2 eggs in here. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Blender, don't forget to put the lid on. Good, good. Beautiful, I love it. I don't need any starch in here because the cornstarch is going to thicken it itself. And you know what? I don't want to blend it too much because I want the corn kernels in there. I don't want this to be baby food. I've got these cute little ramekins, which you can get anywhere. I'm going to line these with butter so the custard doesn't stick. And there's no other way to do this. Anytime you're making these kinds of custards, you want to make sure they don't stick. You line the sides with some kind of fat. Note to self, when you do this, preheat your oven. I've got an oven at about 3¼ to 350 now. When you're making custards, there's 2 things to do. You don't want them too hot, because if they souffle and then collapse, you can have all kinds of like air holes going through them. Also, with eggs, this is what the thickening agent is. So this is like a flan or anything like that. If they cook too hot, they get granular. So you want to cook them very softly, and we're going to cook them in a bain-marie, in a water bath. And I'll show you that on the other side. So my oven's preheated right now to about 3¼ and I'm just going to pour this stuff in. This is a bain-marie, and if you don't have one of these things, you can use any kind of baking dish you have, a heavy pie tin, you know, a cheesecake baking pan, anything where you can get about this much water, and because we're going to put these in here. When I'm cooking things where eggs are going to thicken them, this is how I like to do it. All right, watch out here. 45 minutes to be done. We'll check them in about 20 to make sure they're not souffling and they're not going too fast. This is just raw corn again, folks. This is nothing fancy. I'm going to take it off the cob, and I'm going to saute it. All right, here's our beans. So we're just going to clean what we need for, what's this going to feed? 2 people? I love stuff like this when it's fresh. All right, you got salt. I'm going to put this ugly lid on it. Don't look. Give it a minute. It's my old restaurant lid, all right? Woo! Look at that. That's what I like. All right, in you go. And the idea with vegetables, you want that boil to continue. I don't want the water to look like this for very long. All right, down, sink, colander. I'm going to rub a little olive oil. I'm going to get a little salt. you know, got to season them, and a little bit again. I love this stuff. A little bit of pepper, just a little smoked habanero, just as a little accent there. All right, and we're gonna just bing, bing. Side that goes in the pan is the side that's gonna be served when that bad boy comes up. When you're baking, no matter what, always check. I mean, you never know. Ovens go out and stuff like that. So let's check these things, and they look gorgeous. Cooking nice and slowly. See, they've risen up just slightly. You can see where that's come up a little bit. Still too wet in the center. Well, these are going to be firm to touch when they're done. It's going to be another 25 to 30 minutes. Let's see how we're doing here. Get my boy. Oh, yeah. Does that look good or what? Got the nice grill marks on there. They're not flaming up. I don't worry about these things burning. I'm getting nice marks, and I'm not getting a lot of carbon on them. All right, the oven cam again. They're ready. They are. See how they've popped up a little? Ever so slightly. Now they're firm. I'm just going to shut the oven off and let them finish in there. Take them out in 10 minutes, and they'll be beautiful. In the meantime, this chicken's done. Underneath the tenderloin, that's the place that cooks the last, right there. And that guy is ready. So, got one breast here, another there. All right, the chicken's done. And we always let stuff compose after we cook it. We're going to let it sit for a couple of minutes and just let the temperatures even out. I'm going to saute this corn. I'm going to get a pan warm, a little olive oil. I got some corn on me again. And again, we could put a little bit of onions in here. We could do a lot of things. I'm just going to do corn, really simple. Corn, the peppers that you saw, and salt and pepper. Simple, simple, simple. I love that about Alice Waters' food. It was really flavorful, really simple, and at the end of the day, that's what cooking's about. So, all right, while we're at it, so we don't forget, a little bit of salt, a bit of pepper, touch more oil here. You can see they browned a little bit. That's going to be fine. Be careful taking these out of the oven, because as I said, you know, you got hot water here in the bain-marie. Not a time for an accident. Take them out carefully. All right, now we're going to put the peppers in here, and we'll just spread them around with my spoon in a second. Beautiful. And you know what I'm going to add to this at the last minute? Some chopped parsley. There. Beautiful. All right, now the moment of truth. I mean, this is sort of like family style. Going to put some beans on the plate. Yeah, that's an ugly one. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt. Beautiful. Then we're going to get the corn, which is really nice and crunchy and sweet and tasty. To take this thing out of here, we're going to run a knife along the sides. Hopefully she didn't stick. And I'm going to serve it this side back up. It was in my hand. Aha, that's the custard. And on it goes, right on the corn there. And then the chicken, get one of the breasts here. This looks nice. And say we'll cut it 1, 2, like that. Open it up a little, you see it's perfect. So there's our little chicken breast, and let's just say, let's say it's for me. I'm a thigh guy here. So that'll go here. Oh boy, look at that. It's just all custardy. See how it's wiggly like this? And that's going to eat really soft with the crunchy corn underneath it. It's good. It's really good. And the chicken's going to be great with it, and the beans are going to be great. And you can do it tomorrow with tomatoes or a piece of fish or anything else. Eat in season. Support these farmers. Cook more at home. Slow food. Did I forget my slow food theme? Cook at home, cook slow, enjoy it with the kids. Families love cooking. Until next time, thank you. Thank you, Alice Waters, for all you've done for this country and organic movements. And eat good food, cook at home, and enjoy it.
Unconsciously, you're drawn to the fire. And it's inside all of us. And when your senses are awakened like that, there's a kind of pleasure that comes with that, really, especially that cooking of the garlic and the smells and the rosemary, and everybody is drawn to that. And think that ritual of the table is the most exciting part of the day, when you come together and you communicate with your friends and your family, and there's something delicious there.